Happy 2013, everyone. Basilray from VapeLink, and this is the first review of the year. So welcome back. 2013 is going to be the year of vaping innovation, I'm hoping. So today we're going to start by looking at a clone of something that was already on the market. Make no mistakes, this is absolutely 100% a Chinese copy of a different product. So this is the Terminator rebuildable atomizer tank. Purchased it, $59 on the nose, Stormy's Cellar.com. And it is a carbon copy Chinese clone of the Golden Greek or the GG Odysseus rebuildable atomizer. So the version I purchased was the standard at the time. There were two versions. There is a dripping version, which is not this one, and there was a tank version. And that's what I have. I have the tank version. Its build is holding 3 milliliters of liquid. I've never gotten more than 2.5 mils in, even filling from the top from the collar. Like you may have seen a guy like maybe, Phil P. Basardo do with the Odysseus. I've never been able to get more than 2.5 milliliters of liquid into this thing. Not a huge capacity. The actual GG Odysseus holds, about the same in this configuration, about 3 milliliters. So there's smaller configurations out there. I mean, in terms of rebuildable tanks that they have smaller capacities. There's much bigger. So this is kind of middle of the road. 3 to 5 is kind of the standard these days for your average run-of-the-mill rebuildable tank. So this tank uses silica wick down the sides to wick up to a coil. You ideally make the coil yourself from a combination of non-resistance and resistance wire. I'm not going to show you how to do a complete rebuild here in this video, but we will take this apart at the end. So if you want to see the take apart, fast forward a couple of minutes and you'll get there. Otherwise, I'm going to take another big rip on this and I'm going to talk about it some more. .8 ohm coil, pushing 5.1 volts on the ProVary V2. So it vapes really pretty well. You control how much liquid gets to the wick by screwing or unscrewing the mouthpiece here. So the mouthpiece is designed to screw or unscrew exactly like it does on the Odysseus. So you would turn it, when you're holding it, you would turn it clockwise to close it, counterclockwise to open it and allow more liquid to get to the wick. So you kind of have to get a little bit of a feel for different juice PG-VG ratios that you might be putting into the Terminator tank. So a small learning curve once you get it all together. After that, you kind of get a feel for it. Some things, real thick liquids, you got to open it quite a bit more. Real thin liquids, you can leave it, closed up fairly tight. You don't have to open it a ton. So it is adjustable in that respect. There's no adjustable airflow or anything else magical going on here. It's machined out of stainless steel. Machining is pretty good, but one thing that I've noticed, I haven't dropped this or done anything. This is the way it came to me. The connector is crooked on here. So when I screw this, if you look, you can see, it's tipped to the side. So as I screw this down, it doesn't sit straight perfectly, 90 degrees of the tabletop when I set it down, like any other atomizer would on the ProVary. So that's kind of a bummer. For $59 for a Chinese copy, you can't expect complete perfection. That's painfully obvious every time I look at this and just see it sitting crooked on here. So there's already a newer version of the Terminator that's just coming out. It has a larger tank capacity, a clear window in it. So it's a bit more like the full mode Odysseus setup, which is pretty much impossible to ever get again. Emil, I don't believe, has put out a true, full expansion packs for the Odysseus in a really long time. So the Odysseus retailed for about $125, somewhere right in that neighborhood for the basic setup. And then, of course, there were extra parts you could buy. There's some other vendors, Silica Wicks, Team Rampage. They sell some aftermarket, kind of clear housings. Kier Fanis does the clear tanks like I have here. So there are some options. The nice thing, if you're already a GG owner or you want to be able to customize it a bit more with things like clear windows, you can purchase all those things because all the parts, in my experience, that are from the Terminator fit on the GG Odysseus and vice versa, which is pretty impressive for a Chinese copy. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that's really impressive. The one thing that's not impressive is the size of this mouthpiece. I'll show you that in the teardown. That really restricts the liquid flow. So the GG Odysseus with the exact same coil and wick setup, I think wicks better because you fit more juice in the lower portion of the tank, so you just have a little more room for the juice to move and get to the wick. But other than that, for $59, it's not a terrible buy. Just because of the way this wicks compared to the Odysseus, I would choose the Odysseus, but I'm certainly sympathetic to those who can't get an Odysseus. They are really hard to come by. You know, I don't know if Emio is planning on doing another run of them, and they're double the price. So I'm certainly sympathetic to that. If you've been trying to get an Odysseus and couldn't, or you just couldn't swallow the $120 price tag for the basic configuration of the Odysseus, I think the Terminator tank's going to be for you. You can buy pre-made wicks from a lot of different places. I just bought a package of Cisco spec wicks from Avid Vapor. They're about $5, I think, for a 5-pack. Got the wick, the coil, it's already built. All you do is you take it out of the package, drop it in, put it together, you're ready to rock. So you don't even have to really rebuild all the coils yourself. So you don't have to run out and source non-resistance wire, resistance wire, and good silica wick. You can buy pre-made coils from a few different places. Avid Vapor, Clouds of Vapor has them in stock from time to time. Those will work just as well as they would on the Odysseus right here because they're really the exact same thing. So, solid buy, not like an earth-shattering buy. A lot of people have moved on from silica wick, options. This is a straight-up silica wick rebuildable. Gives you a little more control than something like the Raw tank by Crack that's over at DFW Vapor, or some of the other silica wick-based tanks. But in the end, you are using silica. So if silica isn't for you, this probably won't be for you. So that being said, let's take a big puff here, and then let's go down to the tabletop. We'll take it all apart, and we will analyze it and send you on your way. So a freshly disassembled Terminator rebuildable atomizer tank lays before you on a substitute green towel, because my cool green towels, which I know everybody loves so much, are in the wash. So consists of the following. So there is the base piece, which is threaded with the 510 atomizer fitting. There is the rebuildable housing along with the kind of locking screw or washer there. You have the mouthpiece cone, the stainless steel tank body, the top cap. Note that there is an O-ring that's sitting in the top there. And then you have the locking nut on the top. So just to kind of show you, the parts here are interchangeable with my actual Odysseus parts. Here is the Odysseus top cap. You can also kind of tell the difference in finish here. I mean, this is a matte finish, and the Odysseus top cap here is clearly pretty polished. This will thread on here quite nicely. So if nothing else, if you've got an Odysseus and you're having trouble sourcing replacement parts, and I just didn't screw that down as tight as it could go, this might be an option for you to be able to cannibalize some extra parts. So to assemble this, you would need to build your coil and lock it down with the washer. And I'm not going to show that in this video. If there's enough interest, put together a separate video just on how to do that. So from here then, you are going to take the ceramic housing where our coil is, and you can see the coil sitting on top there, and you will insert that into the base. And this is where you really have to kind of be careful. The threads here are pretty thin, but they are stainless steel, so they're going to hold up real well. But you have to get this screwed in far enough and tight enough that you're not going to allow any leaking out the bottom. This has been a problem even with the original Odysseus and version 2 of the Odysseus, is that if you don't get this screwed down tight enough, you will leak juice straight out the connector here. Also, by screwing in the housing, you actually complete the connection for the connector. So if you look here, I back this out a bunch. There you can see the connector's recessed. So the ceramic housing also completes the connection. So I'm going to screw this down real tight. And then you would just tighten down the ring to kind of help hold it in place. The ring also completes the connection with your negative wire here. So the ring kind of serves two purposes. From here, the mouthpiece cone is going to go over the top. Now this mouthpiece cone is a bit bigger than the Odysseus mouthpiece cone, which I have mine sitting right here, big reach. Here it is. So if you look here, it might be kind of hard to tell from that angle, but if we, let's see here, what's going to be the best way to show this? It's going to be kind of tricky to show. But essentially what you have is that the circumferences of the mouthpieces externally are different. The Terminator is a bit bigger around at the top because you can see it kind of flanges in here on the Odysseus. That, I think, is pretty important because it's going to allow the liquid to just kind of pull up a little bit more around this. It also is going to, alter your capacity, I think, just a little bit. But that, I think, is the big difference that the Odysseus wicks better than the Terminator, is because this mouthpiece is a little bit smaller from the actual Odysseus. But we'll put the Terminator mouthpiece on the Terminator rebuildable section. If I can line this up, there we go. So this threads on. You would screw this all the way down when you're assembling. Oops, that's a better look. Then we would put on the tank. Now before I do that, the mouthpiece also serves as your juice control. So when you turn it counterclockwise to open it up, notice we're exposing the ceramic housing, which holds your silica wick. So what we're really doing is we're giving more wick to the juice space that's in the tank, which is how the juice wicks up the silica wick. So that is how you adjust the juice flow. So your tank body will go on. If you've got a Fanis clear tank, or you can pick one up from a place like Avid Vapor, you can certainly use one of those here. This would fit interchangeably. Whoops, this would fit interchangeably with the stainless steel tank that comes with the Terminator. So from here, when I go to fill it up, I will usually take some e-liquid. Let me grab a bottle here with a dripper on it. And when I fill it, I will start and I will fill it here. And fill it until it pools up to the top. And this is about 2 milliliters, give or take a few drops. Ah! My hands are wet. I just washed all these parts down so I could do this. Of course, the bottle slipped out of my hand. So I will get it till it pools up, then take the collar. And I'm just going to pop out the O-ring here for now. Collar will go on. If I can get it lined up. Now my hands are wet. Everything is wet. Slipping and sliding. Let's go redneck water park in here. Alright, so then from here, you can shoot some more juice down through the collar. That's going to get you, when you get this filled to the point where you can't get any more juice in without it, coming up the top past where the O-ring would be. Right at about 2.5 milliliters. Then your O-ring goes on, slides in, and lastly your locking nut goes on. Now when you screw this on, screw it just a little bit tighter than hand tight and then back it off. That helps seat the O-ring in here. Come on, there we go. So that'll help seat the O-ring, and if you get it too tight though, it can keep the mouthpiece locked in with the top caps, and the whole top will spin. So I've got it threaded here pretty tight. I'm just going to back it off. And there we go. Bag it off. Get it just to hand tight, and we should be golden. So from here, I could go ahead and toss this on my device and be ready to rock and roll. So there's a quick look at the Terminator. Now, the big difference here is that in the Odysseus version 2 housing, you have ceramic exposed on one side where you wrap the wire down. On the other, the upgrade here is that the other side is all metal, so it's not exposed to the ceramic, which is an easier way to complete the connection. So when the Chinese copied this, they copied the version 1 of the Odysseus ceramic housing, not version 2. So they copied an older version already. So it's a little bit of a bummer. It makes it a little bit harder to set this all up. But in the end, that's how it's done. Odysseus knockoff, $60. It's up for you to decide if it's for you or not. But of course, I'm Basilray. Check out VapeLink. Hit up the Basil phone, 612-293-6405. Facebook.com/Basilray, Twitter.com/Basilray. All that good business. We're in 2013, so please, it's a new year. Let's make sure you take care.